Once upon a time, in a large forest, there was a lovely squirrel named Sammy. Sammy was very generous and always loved to share what he had with his friends. For him, friendship and happiness grew by sharing. The animals in the forest were also very happy with his generosity. However, one day, Sammy encountered the most greedy and envious animal in the forest, a fox named Freddy. Freddy was a fox who always wanted more and kept what he had hidden from others. Freddy couldn't make sense of Sammy being so generous, because Freddy was jealous of what other animals had and always wanted more. According to him, happiness was measured only by what one could have. That's why whenever Sammy shared something with his friends, Freddy would think, "I wish these were mine." One day, Sammy found a lot of beautiful walnuts at the base of a tall tree deep in the forest. These walnuts were some of the rarest and most delicious in the forest. Sammy quickly gathered these walnuts and set off to share them with the other animals. When he saw his friends, he called out to them and said, "Come on, let's all eat these delicious walnuts together." The rabbits, birds, bears, and other animals in the forest happily gathered and took their share of the walnuts. However, Freddy was watching them from a distance. "Why is everyone eating these walnuts?" he thought. "I want those walnuts, but why is Sammy giving them to others? I want them all for myself," he said to himself, feeling jealous. So he decided to come up with a plan. He thought of a way to get those walnuts from Sammy. The next day, Freddy plucked up all his courage and went to the place where the walnuts were. He found Sammy and shouted, "Give me those walnuts! I'm going to eat them all by myself." Sammy was surprised and said, "But Freddy, I picked these walnuts to share with everyone. If you want to eat some, you can take your share, just like everyone else." Freddy got very angry when he heard that. "No, I want to eat them all by myself. You are too generous. And sharing such wonderful walnuts is so unnecessary. Those walnuts should only be mine," he shouted, trying to force Sammy to give the walnuts to him. Sammy sadly said, "Freddy, too much of anything can be bad. Sharing makes both you and your friends happy. Being jealous and taking everything for yourself will only lead to frustration." Freddy didn't listen to what Sammy said. At that moment, he decided to put his plan into action, and he shouted, "Sammy, look behind you. Your dear friend is coming." Sammy turned around, and Freddy quickly grabbed the walnuts and started running away. Even though Sammy shouted after him, he continued running without answering him. However, as Freddy ran deeper into the forest, he felt that the walnuts were getting too heavy for him, and he struggled to carry them. Although Freddy tried to carry the walnuts together, a few rolled off and started to scatter. As Freddy ran towards the riverbank to retrieve them, the last of the walnuts fell and began to scatter. The walnuts cracked and broke as they rolled. Now, Freddy had lost both the walnuts and the trust of all the animals in the forest. Seeing this, Sammy quickly went to Freddy and said, "Your jealousy and selfishness caused you to lose all the walnuts. Let this be a great lesson for you. If you learn to share, you will see that everything gets better and better." Freddy realized how wrong he had been and felt regret. He understood that jealousy and selfishness were of no use to anyone, and that true happiness came from sharing. The next day, Freddy apologized to all the animals in the forest and asked Sammy to help him learn about generosity. Sammy explained to Freddy how valuable and important sharing was. He showed Freddy how being generous would actually bring him more. From that day on, Freddy began spending more time with the other animals in the forest and sharing everything with them. He realized how happy sharing made him and how it strengthened his friendships. Freddy changed more and more every day, learned generosity, and eventually became a beloved animal by the other animals in the forest community. Both he and his friends were very happy with this change, and they lived happily ever after.